Call to order this meeting of the Siloam Springs Board of Directors for December 21st, 2021. Roll call.
Carroll.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Rissler.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Smiley. Here. Sappington.
Here.
At this time, if you all will stand with me, please, and Director Carroll is going to lead us in a word of prayer, and if you'll remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, today is a day to look to you, knowing that your guidance, your counsel, your wisdom is what will lead and guide us, take us on to this next step. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the people and the community of Siloam Springs, the opportunity to help make decisions that will make our community, our city, a better place to live, a safer place to live, a more enjoyable place to be. We thank you for this opportunity and all that comes with it. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask that anyone that has an electronic device, a phone, anything that, if you would silence that, please, so we're not interrupted during the meeting. I appreciate that. Thank you. The next is our public input time. At this time, the public may address the Board of Directors regarding any item that is not on our regular agenda. Is there anyone that would like to address the Board? If there is not, then I would ask that if there is anyone that would like to address the Board of Directors concerning anything that is on the consent agenda. There is not, so we will move on. Next is the consent agenda. Item A, regular meeting minutes for December 7th, 2021. Item B, annual chemical bids, Public Works Department, Water-Wastewater divisions, multiple vendors and costs. Item C, 2022 Police Officer Step Plan, Police Department. Is there anyone on the board that would like to make a comment or question or have one of these items pulled?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to pull item C.
Okay. Is there anyone else? If there is not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with item C removed?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Smiley. Yes. Burns.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Sappington.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Director Sappington, we've got item C, 2022 Police Officer Step Plan. You have a question or?
Yes,
Okay.
I just had a couple of things, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
My concern was the incoming officers with their experience, and that would be determined by the chief on how much they would make or where they would enter at. I kind of feel that we need to be a little clearer in establishing how the pay would be decided other than just determined by, but the chief of police. I think that we need to have some guidelines for it as well.
Thank you. Marla, is there any other director that has a question or comment before the police or before the chief addresses the board?
Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to the chief for instituting this. It's been a long time in coming that we've been a revolving door for other cities' police departments. And we do have some long-term employees that have, decided to stay in Siloam, but they easily could have gone elsewhere. And I'm glad that we're finally going to be stepping up to not just pay better competitively, but to incentivize and reward those who stay with us. So thank you, Chief, for putting this out.
Thank you.
David?
And Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I can add some more. My history as a teacher coming in, and we did, step plans basically, how many years. It also goes by hours of training, staff development, things like that. But there was always a committee or someone else that decided, maybe it's just like a matrix or something to help decide where they would enter at, instead of just saying, with one person deciding that they're going to enter at a 3-year step 2 or whatever. That was just my concern. Everything looks good. It's just that I think there needs to be more than one decision on if it's not clear where they're entering at.
Yes, ma'am. When you're dealing with police policies and pay, the buck stops with me because I'm the one held accountable for anything that is done at the police department by you and Mr. Phillip. Whenever I decide when someone comes in the department, I am working on a policy right now that will dictate that. Let's take someone like James Bond, the officer that runs our motor unit. I was able to recruit him to come run our motorcycle unit. He's a guy with 25 years of experience, so I can't bring someone in like that at a level 1. That's why we've had problems in the past where we can't recruit against all the other departments and sheriff's departments around us. We have to give some incentive. I would be smart about anything that I come in, and of course I would meet with my command staff and we would come to a decision. And then checks and balances go to finance with Ms. Christina, and finally with Mr. Phillip or Mr. Patterson's approval. In that policy, I am planning on there would be no one coming in unless I hired them as a ranking officer. The highest rank I would probably bring someone in would be a step 8 or 10, depending on experience, just like I did with other officers. We just hired, we recruited an officer that hopefully you'll meet next month, Jeremy Brown. He's someone with 12 years experience, and we're starting him at a step 5 if this is approved. That would be the money that we would look at just to be competitive with the salary he's already making. He's not going to come here to make less than he's making at another department, if that makes sense. But there will be checks and balances.
Right. My concern was that I just think that, it's good that we're going to have guidelines. I think it ought to be in relationship to how many years of service, extra training, and you are doing that. I just think the bottom line is it needs to be more than one person that makes the final decision. And what you've said is you have a committee or the commander or wherever they would be positioned.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that whoever is hired should be paid for their experience, most definitely.
Yes, ma'am, and I left a key component out. HR sits in all my interviews. We discuss salary. Salary is sent to them to make sure we're comparable and we're within the guidelines and the policy that I'll put forth.
Okay, and that was just my one concern.
Okay.
Was that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to approve item C, 2022 Police Officer Step Plan?
So
moved.
Second.
Hey, we have a lot of motions. So Carol, you made the motion? And who made the second?
I'm so slow, it took me to
Reed?
get to the second.
Roll call.
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Whistler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next is our regularly scheduled items, resolutions. Item D, Resolution 66-21 to adopt the 2022 budget. Christina?
Mayor, members of the board. In response to the questions at the last board meeting, I am presenting a breakdown here of all of the capital for the 2022 budget workbook that was provided to the board. This shows the projects as presented in the overview as either presented as significant projects or if they were just other projects in the budget book. The dollar value used to determine if a project was significant was $300,000, but there were a few exceptions to that. The 412 median project is the first exception. The total project for all phases exceeds $300,000, and staff wanted to bring this to the attention of the board as it will be considered during 2022. Also, the Walton Family Foundation has provided funding for a portion of this project. The outdoor warning system and the Highway 412 medians are the only two significant projects for the general funds. Enterprise funds include projects below the $300,000 threshold. In electric, the traffic signal detection project is significant to the public in that it will reduce traffic light delays due to sun glare by using thermal imaging. The Moss substation will cost the city over $300,000 for all of its updates. And underground conversions were a board goal, so it was included in significant projects. We did not include a $305,000 side load trash truck, which is a capital asset, as one of the significant projects. That was an oversight by staff. The airport is the last of the enterprise fund capital. And finally, we have capital for the streets. It was noted during the overview that significant projects were not all capital projects, which is why the list was not totaled. Also, all capital expenses were included during the workshop review of each department's budget. Other than those requested by the board, no changes have been made since that time. I believe the board asked for a change to the elementary traffic studies. You can see here that the totals for significant capital projects from the overview and the totals of all the other capital projects combined exceed the $13.5 million in the memo. So are there any other questions related to the capital or related to the budget in general?
Board? Thank you, Christina.
Madam Mayor.
Yep, before we move on, I'm going to see if there's anyone in the audience that has a question that they would like to ask at this time. If there is not, then board and Director Carroll.
Christina, thank you for your time and effort with this.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Cindy.
I echo that. This is very helpful having all that spelled out, so I appreciate your work on it.
Thank you.
Yes, Carol.
I don't want to get ahead of anybody, but if there's no other discussion, I move that we approve resolution number 66-21, adopting the 2022 budget.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Allen,
No.
Carroll,
Yes.
Appington,
Yes.
yes, Burns.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you, Christina. Next is our administrator's report. Philip?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Give me 1 second here. So in my administrator's report, I have 3 expenditures to report $48,200 for 40 30-foot tall direct bury aluminum light poles with the 6-inch arm for inventory. $38,400 in the electric department for 6,000 feet of, it's called 350-aught secondary wire, and an additional 10,000 feet of 4-aught secondary wire for inventory and new customer and continued maintenance. And $32,951.67 for a single 1,500 kV 3-phase pad-mounted transformer. The November sales tax receipts are in. For the month, the city is up 12.6%. Year-to-date, we're up 18.5% compared to budget. Compared to last year. And the county is up 1.3% for the month and 17.8% compared to last year. You have the numbers on COVID. We continue to see some changing numbers as we go through that. Since November 8th, the countywide infection rate remains at double digits. You can see there from the Arkansas Center for Health Improvement, the infection rates for a 14-day period per 10,000 county residents for Benton and Washington County. As of November 8th, it was 9 and 6 per 10,000. Today, or as of the 6th of December, was 25 and 21 infection rates per 10,000 residents. I've talked to you before about the PSAPs, the Public Safety Answering Points, and the consolidation that the state is doing. I've provided you at your seats with a copy of the 911 state consolidation plan, and also with a copy of Act 660, which is the state law related to 911 public safety answering point consolidation. We continue to have discussions with Benton County and Rogers and Springdale about consolidation. The state's plan says that there will be 2 funded PSAPs in Benton County, with the potential that the 911 board could consider 3. There are currently 4 funded PSAPs in Benton County: Siloam Springs, Benton County, Rogers, and Springdale. It is likely that the second meeting in January will be back here with a workshop to discuss the pros and cons about the various options of consolidation or not, and ask the board for some direction as it relates to that. My understanding is if we wish, as a county, collectively, if we wish to ask for 3 or more funded PSAPs, which likely wouldn't happen, but if we wish to ask for that, we have to be in front of the 911 board before April of 2022. If there's a consolidation plan, that has to be submitted to the 911 board before the end of 2022. So I'm providing this information a little early so you have some background information. Staff and I are working together to talk about and try to outline the pros and cons of various options that we have, and then we'll be seeking some specific direction from the board in about a month. The maintenance shop is having an open house tonight for the board and any members of the public who would like to attend. It's the new maintenance shop there at Lincoln Street and Main Street. So upon adjournment here, I would invite all the board to visit the maintenance shop, just so you can see some of you were there right when we closed on it and saw it in its empty shell, and you have the opportunity now to see it, how it's being used by the maintenance shop. I'd like to take a minute of the board's time and just talk about some 2021 updates. We have approximately 260 full-time employees, and I want those employees to know that not only do I wish them a very Merry Christmas, I think the board does too, and the public. They are some of the best employees and coworkers that I've ever worked with. Last couple of years for the employees, due to COVID and the weather and the number of other factors that we've dealt with, have been stressful and difficult, not only for the employees but for residents too. But our employees are really dedicated. Your employees are dedicated to their job, and they're dedicated to doing the best that they can do for this city. They're great individuals, and I want them to know that I appreciate them because I believe they work hard. And they're not perfect. They're going to make mistakes. But the one thing that we do as a team is we're going to own those mistakes, and we're going to learn from them, and we're going to ensure that we don't continue to make the same mistake. With that said, I want to go over some snapshots by departments for the end of the year. I've done this every year since being here. In the Public Works Department, we saved over $120,000 this year by using our reuse water. So 51 million gallons of reuse water was used this year instead of potable water, and that's the savings that reuse program has provided to the city. The work orders in the maintenance department has decreased to just over 1,000, which is the lowest it's been in the past 6 years. And I attribute that to you as a board for allowing the city and approving budgets that include newer equipment. And that allows us to spend their time working on the older equipment and keeping that running. In times past, when we've had older equipment, that number's, as far as maintenance of that equipment, has been much higher. We increased the miles of city streets by 7.5% this year, from 114 miles to 122. A total of 51,400 new linear feet of water mains were installed, for a total miles of water mains in the city that we maintain of 192 miles. Wastewater Services processed over 2,000 work orders, water and wastewater work orders this year. We installed almost 29,000 linear feet of sewer mains, and we increased our total sewer main miles to 116. Sanitation increased the total number of tons taken to the landfill by 5%, which is about the number of new customers that they increased also. And the biggest issue in Public Works is the water treatment plant. $31 million project. It's 95% complete. It's been brought home on budget and on time, and we hope to complete it within the next couple of months to have it completely done. In the Community Development Department, code violations were down by 25%. Dwelling unit permits are up 41% from 263 last year to 333. The Engineering Division provided design and construction administration for over $1 million worth of in-house projects and $750,000 worth of contractor projects. Attendance at the library is up by 3%, from just over 9,000 to 9,344 as of the latest numbers. The Family Aquatic Center visitors increased by 175%, from 5,000 to 14,000, but of course, last year's numbers were subject to COVID. We had to close early, and we weren't open for the full season. Utility Billing Department in Finance processed over 11,000 utility bills and late notices every month. Every month, over 11,000 utility bills. Compared to 2019, that's over 500 more a month. And IT keeps us all working by supporting over 280 computers. Human Resources, they held a Biggest Loser contest for our employees to help us lose weight. We saw over almost 250 pounds lost from 80 employees. HR also provided supervisor and employee training on harassment and collaborated with the fire department to train all employees on CPR and how to use AEDs. And most importantly, which those are very important, but also something new, which was to stop the bleed. We also now, as of just last week, have tourniquets in every city vehicle. And thank you to the fire department for doing that. The courts issued over 4,200 summons and held 456 pretrials, 20 trials, and dealt with 275 civil cases. The electric crews installed 192 permanent new services for 286 new customers this year, and they repaired almost 500 street lights and rental security lights while doing that. They also installed 1,000 AMI meters. We currently have 2,100 AMI meters in use. We have a total number of electric customers of just over 8,600, so we're still a long ways to go, but we're slowly working to do that. And again, appreciate the board's approval of that in the budget so we can continue to convert those meters to AMIs. The fire department responded to a total of 3,180 emergency incidents. 2,484 were EMS and 696 were fire and rescue incidents. This is up by 10% from last year. They participated in over 30,000 hours of training, 533 hours per personnel in the fire department. 93% of all buildings and building contents were saved during the firefighting activities, representing $24 million saved. Response time in the city decreased to 4 minutes and 21 seconds. That's the call to the time of the arrival. They hosted a number of vaccination clinics for COVID, resulting in nearly 3,000 vaccinations being given out. And they also participated and conducted the Stop the Bleed training and, as I said earlier, provided tourniquets for every vehicle. The police department, they continue to have an extremely high crime clearance rate. As of December 15th, it's 88%. The national average is 32%. Drug arrests are up 4% from 210 to 218 as of this year. Street crime units have seized over 20 ounces of marijuana, 26 ounces of methamphetamine, 15 ounces of fentanyl, and 9 grams of heroin. Breaking and entering is down by 2.5% from 77 to 75, and assaults are down by 5%, 184 to 175. Again, I want to thank the employees of this city. They work hard, they're dedicated to their job, and I think those numbers show that. And we've had a good year, and I want the employees to know that not only I think they're the greatest, and I appreciate their work, and I wish them all a very Merry Christmas. I think the board does too, and I know the residents of this community appreciate the work and dedication that these employees do. Madam Mayor, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Before I move on to the directors, there's a couple of things that I would like to mention. First of all, moving on to 2022, I guess, I see that we are going to be holding a game night for the families in our community. That's going to be at our community building on January the 7th from 6:30 to 8:30. So I would encourage everyone to come out and participate as we move into the new year. And I know we're all thankful for what we have and for our community, to being the community that it is. I want to echo Philip's sentiments about our employees. We have the best employees that you could have. They are all very, very professional whenever you talk to them. And every time I say something to them about thank you for this or I appreciate what you've done, their reply to me is always, well, it's my job. It's what I want to do. It's what I'm here for. They are here for us, for this board, for this city, for the people that live here. They care about us. They want to do their jobs as good as they can, to the best of their ability for all of us. And I appreciate that. And I hope they all know that. And it's just, sometimes I know it's a thankless job. But you are appreciated. You are, every one of you, for the jobs that you do. So remember, this board, myself as your mayor, we are here. If you need us, you let us know that. And to Philip, thank you for the job that you do, for your leadership. I have had employees have told me how much they appreciate you, that whenever they come to you with a problem, that you are always willing to listen to them, that you hear their side, that you then counsel them. If there is a problem that needs to be fixed, you help them fix it. You never tell them their job is in jeopardy or they feel like that they're afraid for their jobs. And I think that's saying a lot about a leader. I think your leadership reflects in our community and in our employees. So thank you for what you do. The next thing I'd like to say is I hope that everyone, if you have not, that you will get out and look at our beautiful Christmas lights. Siloam is beautiful. It is just, it really kind of, it makes you so proud. And I know that other communities have come to our community to see our lights and to enjoy them. So my understanding is they will be up through January. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we've
Anna's
got
shaking his head
Yeah.
yes to me, yes.
So we still have some time to enjoy them. I hope you get out and do that. And other than that, I would just wish all of you we have such a wonderful community. I look forward to this next year to serving you. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And with that, Mindy, we will start with you tonight and move around to David for our final. And
Okay.
Mindy, you have the floor.
Thank you. Had a lot on my heart the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to share some of that. Specifically, I've thought a lot about all that was involved in deciding the ordinance related to the utility rates. After 3 readings and lots of input from citizens, we unanimously, as a board, decided not to increase rates this year and to evaluate rates annually to determine if adjustments are needed. We all know that. I do believe that all citizens who reached out did so out of genuine concern for the impact rate increases could have had on those who are already struggling to make ends meet during an especially challenging time. I appreciate that and commend those who took their time to email board members and or attend meetings. While most were very respectful in expressing their concerns, a few felt the need to attack the city and board members. Board members were described as insane. We were called clowns. There were demands to vote us out. We were accused of serving on the board just for our egos and for the money, and the list goes on. I understand that people were frustrated and that the difficult time we're in takes frustrations to a whole new level. If it made some feel better to express their frustrations toward the board and about the board, that's fine, I understand. But please keep in mind that the 7 of us who represent the 17,000 of you are the same people who shop with you. We eat out with you. We live next door to you. We attend our kids' sporting events with you. We pay the same utility bills you pay. We worship next to you in church, etc. You know us, or you know others who know us. We're not strangers making decisions that impact people we don't know. We do care. Just like you, we want Siloam to be a city where people feel safe, where they have everything they need, and where they want to be. Granted, people have different opinions, even about the basic desires and how to go about meeting them. We know we won't ever please everyone, but we are committed to doing our best when making decisions that impact our city and you, the citizens. Based on what I've observed in my 3 years on the board, city staff are committed to doing their very best for the city and citizens as well. Philip just reiterated all that's been done just this year. They work daily to serve and protect you and us, the citizens. As I mentioned during the last meeting, it is their job to bring recommendations to the board, and it's our job to accept, reject, or amend those recommendations. I firmly believe that any recommendations the staff makes to us are based on research and what they think will be best for the city and the citizens in the long term. When we don't agree with recommendations, it's easy to react in frustration either to the recommendation itself or to the person who made the recommendation, as opposed to focusing on the process. That process allows us time to think through the recommendations, ask questions, hear feedback from citizens, and then make decisions accordingly. According to our organizational chart, we work for the citizens and the city staff work for us, but that doesn't mean we have to work against the staff. In my opinion, doing what we can to work together for our city and for our citizens gets better results. Anyway, that's all for that. Now on to a lighter subject, the 2nd annual Deck the Halls decorating contest. Thanks to Hall and Hayden for coordinating this event again this year and to all those who entered the event. I'm pleased to announce that the overall winner is in my ward. That's 109 Greenwood Place. The residents there won Ward 1, and then they ended up winning the overall prize as well for a total of $150 they got. The other award winners were in Ward 2, 206 East Carter, in Ward 3, 464 Sunset, and in Ward 4, 1579 Andrew Court. And I took the opportunity to go by these houses tonight to look at the decorations, and they definitely are well worth the time it takes to drive by. I appreciate those citizens who took their time to decorate, and all the others who decorated as well and entered the contest. These winners will be announced on social media tomorrow. In the meantime, congratulations. I wanted to thank also the judges who represent the following organizations. These are the judges of the decorating contest. Don't have names, but I have the organizations that they represent. Siloam Springs Regional Hospital, Northside Elementary, Siloam Springs Center for the Arts, Heritage League, Ability Tree, First Presbyterian Church, the VFW, Camp Siloam, Firefighters Auxiliary, Community Christian Fellowship, Main Street, Bridge Church, Century 21, and St. Mary's Catholic Church. Whew, lots of judges this year, but I appreciate their work. For a map of those who entered the contest, you can go to the city website. While out looking at decorations, I do strongly encourage you to take some time to look at the decorations the city staff has put up on Main Street, by the library, down by the community building. Fabulous display of lights. So glad to hear that people from other places are coming, and I certainly understand why. Finally, Merry Christmas, and let's not forget that Jesus is indeed the reason for the season.
Thank you, Mindy. Brad?
How you follow Mindy on that? I've got closing thoughts for the end of this year, and my first one is Siloam Springs is a growing, healthy, thriving community, and my first unit of measure is our churches. We've had positive growth. We have a positive growth happening on Sherry Whitlock with another expansion. If you go downtown on Sundays, you're going to hear at the Brick Ballroom some voices coming out and music, and there's little startup churches, and I think that is the founding base of this community is the diversity and freedom of religion. So I'm excited that that is prospering. A reminder to some folks, the city of Siloam Springs is not the federal government, and I pray disgruntled citizens understand the difference. This year, this year and then going into next year, $3.8 million was paid out of reserve and not passed on to the citizens. Because unlike this year, we actually had a cold winter, if we recall. It's hard to recall. And then we've also, by leaving the utility rates flat, saved the citizens $1.6 million. That's $5.4 million. It's hard to even wrap my mind around it. And I think it's a fantastic thing that we're able to do that. Projects require long-term planning, master plans, and budgeting. I'm going to give an example of Simon Sager Drive, which next year will be in Marla's ward, and I will lose it. But it is on its final phase, and all the phases put together out of the 4 phases, it's just short of $1.5 million. I believe Simon Sager Drive is a silent sleeper. I was out there this last weekend. I parked at Lowe's, took my dog for a walk to nitpick the city's work, just to do a walkabout. And I saw 6 cars drive down and turn around because they just automatically go, wow, we got to cut through. So it's going to be an access road, and I think it's going to be a fantastic economical driver. And I know city staff is working with developers out there, and I'm just excited to see how that goes up. I believe creating that tax revenue will continue to allow us to offset any significant utility increases in the future. And I love that kind of growth. Friday, I stopped by sanitation to say bye to Don Tennyson, his last day, 15 years. And for those of us that have been around, and obviously folks have been around longer than I have, but if we go back to Dan LaBelle and how sanitation was run back in the day and where we went to, Don made the transition to automated trash pickup. We reduced our workman's comp, and he went on the reduce, reuse, recycle campaign, if we recall that, and we had some videos on the city website. And I'm excited where he's going. He's excited. He's happy. But that's another division that I believe in the future will require a pay review. It is a thankless job, and they deal with a lot of our stuff. Quality of life projects are proven economical drivers. We must continue to invest in Siloam Springs. A reminder to myself, healthy debate can be respectful. A reminder to myself and all, misinformation and rumors cause chaos. And your city of Siloam Springs is following good business practices and is not breaking any state laws. And our city administrator and staff deserve a big thank you. And I think the city administrator did that properly, and I'm sure everybody will echo that. And for me, it's real simple, and I remind myself almost on a daily basis, just over the past couple of years, is God just wants us to be good humans. And with that, happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Marla?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First thing I need to mention, that I had a couple of changes to the director's report it was on the minutes, and that's being taken care of. And do I need to list it again, Renee, or you've got it? Okay, it's utility assistance, not rental assistant, through LIHEAP, HEAP, not LIHEAP. But that's what's available if someone's needing help with your utilities. I appreciate the administrator and the staff that worked on painting the curb over on Holly Street and Tulsa Street. And it's just, I need the citizens to know that it's not big concerns, it's also little concerns. And I had a volunteer that would come in early, and she told me, she says, I really have a hard time seeing where the sidewalk begins and the curb and the street is. And it was taken care of, and I really appreciate it. And, that just says a lot for the kind of city staff we have, that they take our concerns to heart. And I can't express enough how important it is that if a citizen has a concern, there's nothing too small. And just getting the curb painted is just an example of something that's, we may have thought it was small, but it was important to that person, and it was taken care of. I was downtown this afternoon watching out the window as the electric department was working on the Christmas decorations again. And it just comes to my mind that maybe we need to update and look at some other Christmas decorations that hang from building to building across the street, where we don't have to have them repaired every time a big wind comes through. But they're beautiful, but it might be time to look at some others, and maybe we could get a committee together that might pick out some new ones for us, since we're really investing in bringing people here during the holidays. I think it'd be nice to look into that. I kind of like to look forward to next year, and one of my hopes for next year for my household and for others is that we increase our recycling. There is a lot of stuff that's being put in the trash that could go in recycling, and I just want to challenge the citizens to do better, and I challenge myself and my family to do better, because I visited my cousin in Seattle, and they have it down to an art how they fold cereal boxes and everything, so it is properly prepared for the recycling. And I just think that's a big concern. And I want to say I'm thankful to live in a city that I feel safe in, and that the citizens are cared about. And I also want to be part of the thanking the staff and my fellow board members for caring to do for our beautiful little town. And that's it.
Thank you, Marla. Lisa?
I want to say thank you to the staff. You have to have a servant's heart to work for any government, any form of government, and so especially local. Because like Director Hunt said, we live here, we shop here, we go to church here, and so you can see the hearts of the individuals that work for the city. We, back in September, we had a community foundation prayer, and it went over really well. And so a lot of people kept coming to me and asking me, and I brought this up last time, and I just want to remind everyone. A lot of people kept coming to me saying that they would like us to do more of that, and so it's not something that I don't want it to be a me thing. I want it to be a community thing. So I reached out to some churches, and there has been a committee kind of formed, and so they want to have their first community foundation prayer on New Year's Day at 9 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce, and it's just to pray for the lost, pray for the people in need. We have people in need, especially this time of year, and to pray for our community, pray for our state, our nation, and, just a foundational prayer. And I also, from our household to everybody, to the city employees, to the citizens, to everybody, we want to say Merry Christmas from our household to you.
Thank you, Lisa. If I could, what time did you say the prayer?
9 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce.
9 a.m. at the
I think the address is 101 University. Does anybody? I don't know. Okay.
Thank you. And just one other thing from what Brad said. I want to mention Don Tennyson. Don has worked here for, 16 years? Isn't that right? 15 or 16 years that he was with us. He was with the city whenever I was on the board and whenever I was on planning and zoning, and now as mayor. And he has always done his job with such great heart, and he cared about his employees, and he cared about the city, and I hate to lose him. He was a great leader for that department, so I hate to see him go, but I wish him well. As Brad says, I know he is excited about this next step in his life and looking forward to what he will be doing, but he will be missed. So I just want to say thank you, Don, for your years of service, and we wish you well. And with that, Reed?
101 North Mount Olive.
Oh,
101 North Mount
you,
Olive
Philip.
for the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you,
Reed?
Madam Mayor. I want to say a big thank you to the 260 employees for this city, for the work that is being done. And I want to point out two of them tonight, but not just them, but who they represent. This last Wednesday, at my house, we had a 911 call. And had a couple of young men come out with the EMS. And it was Anthony Peavyhouse and Corey Wood. And my mother was the recipient of their work. There were 4 words that she used to describe them: timely, respectful, courteous, and gentle. My mother is 84. Don't tell her I said that. But she needed all 4 of those. And these young men who represent not only the fire department, but represent all 260 employees that take care of this community. I want to give a big shout out to them. Everything's fine, and they did their job with exception, and I applaud that. I also want to say thank you to especially our fire and police department for the advancements that have been accomplished this year in how our pay scale, the training, everything that we're doing for those first responders. One of us, I think Marla said she feels safe, and we can, and we do. It's much appreciated. And one other thing that was brought up tonight was our checks and balances. You know, Marla had a question about that, and I believe it was answered. but it impresses me how we're not here as individuals, we're here as a team. We need to garner that wisdom from others as decisions are made. Yeah, we have some buck stoppers, but I think it's all done with looking into other thought process before that buck stopping decision is made. I appreciate that about our city. Believing that we are coming out of pandemic, let us not be shy or timid, but let us be bold, proactive, and on the offense. May we not throttle back, but let's operate from a point of strength, and let's go forward as a strong community. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Reed. Carol?
I want to thank the 260 employees of Siloam Springs. They are the city's greatest asset, and they are the reason that Siloam Springs is what it is, because of all of the effort and the work that they put into this city. I appreciate each and every one of them. One thing I would like to say, though, I would like to thank the officers for the Cops and Kids Christmas shopping. I think that's a tremendous program for the kids that they help out. I also want to thank the fire department for the rescue training that they do, and to all the city staff for all the repairs that take place on a daily basis. They respond to our wants and our needs. I want to thank the city staff for this fabulous Christmas display. My husband and I took Sunday evening to drive through the city, and I was amazed at all of our displays in our parks and the amount of time that it must have taken the city staff to put it together. And I think we do have something in our budget that I saw that just to update a little bit of our Christmas decorations, to answer your question. I love living in this city. I think this is the best community there is. That is because of our citizens, but also because of our employees. Philip, thank you for the update. It is always great to hear where we are at the end of the year. I look forward to 2022 and all the accomplishments that we are going to achieve for this city. And I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Carol. David?
Oh, I have one thing.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I have one thing.
Sure.
I do want to recognize Misty McLaughlin. She has been inducted, and I'm not quite sure what this is, the NOARC SHRM Board of Directors as the certification chair for the year 2022. Congratulations. And I wish Don Tennyson the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. David?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
I also wanted to congratulate Misty and the HR department and the PD and Philip for coming together and really putting a great compensation plan for the PD. I really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, and thank you for the explanation. And it's been something that's looked at for years but never understood how to really take it, and you guys did a great job, and I appreciate it sincerely. The one question I had on the thing we approved, I was going to ask Steve on the list of chemicals we have. Would you mind providing us just a list of what do these do and what department they go for? I have people ask me all the time, what are all the chemicals? Our water tanks are terrible. I'm like, you're not giving us a chance, you know? So it would just help if you could provide us just like what all of those are for down the road. I'm not talking about right this minute. I'm talking about later. I don't expect you to know what hydrogen peroxide is going to be used for. I'm joking. But yes, if you could provide that, that would be great. I've known Don Tennyson a long time, and yes, I worked with Dan LaBelle, his predecessor, and Dan did a great job, and he cared greatly for his employees. Don didn't just take our sanitation department to the next level, he took it several levels above, using what was provided and then to expand, and he was a great employee. It's a huge blow to us to lose him. I understand his desire to improve his life and his career, but he was a loyal, hardworking employee, and I'm going to miss him. He always had an answer if I ever had a question, and he was a great worker, good long-term worker, and I appreciate him. Let's see. I did, just to inform everyone, get a notice from my storage facility that I rent that storage facility theft has gone up. And so I'm just letting everyone know what I've received, that keep a better eye or check on your storage more often, because they're doing things that they never used to do before in terms of being bold. So that's just something that came across my desk, and I wanted everybody to hear about it. Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I want to tell you how appreciative I've been on the job you've done this year. Looking back, talking about Sue last meeting, ran across an article where she ran for mayor long ago. I'd forgotten about that. She ran against Bill Foreman and lost, but it was the first opportunity. And I'm not sure if it was before 1980 or after, but just the fact she had the experience on the board and stepped up, I was like, that was nice. And now, umpteen years later, we have you here as the first woman mayor, and I'm just proud of you. And I just think you've done a great job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And let's see. I think that's it. Merry Christmas to all, and I will remind everyone that the word Christmas does start with the word Christ, and that's the reason we have the season. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you. Now,
Motion to adjourn.
do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? There being none, we are adjourned. Merry Christmas.